and to, I guess, look at the broader picture, just families in general, and looking at, the needs of your parents, grandparents, etc. When you think about it, as you said, it is one of those things where you're not really planning and, thinking so much, okay, we're ready for this, and certainly don't want that day to come necessarily, and not just um, out of the blue, unexpectedly and traumatically, like we have experienced. But you do, that conversation really, uh, like you said, needs to happen ahead of time, so much more ahead of time, so that you're not sitting there when you're going through the grief and you're going through all of those other things and trying to do, prepare for these things at the same time. So I'm wondering, um, for like beyond the college years and all, do you sit down? It sounds as though you would provide the same service for families. Beyond college, this is what we're all doing. How do you put a package like that together?
hmm So, what I start with is just mindset, right?
Mm.
I want to understand who my client is and what their needs are. But remember, I'm destigmatizing at every step, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, my real goal is to fill the gap between doing nothing
Hmm.
and engaging a very expensive lawyer to do everything from scratch, because there's a whole sea of things in the middle that
Hmm.
people can implement themselves, that they can do in a self-help way, right?
Hmm.
That don't even require a lawyer at all. So when I'm serving families, my capacity is really as a coach. I call myself the goodbye gift concierge, right? I'm
Okay.
I'm helping you think through these aspects of your life, right? In a way that feels very organic and very natural. And
Hmm.
in doing so, we identify the components of your plan that require legal action. Not all of them do. Those that you can implement yourself, and when natural touch points might happen where we need to revisit things. So I really see myself as more of a coach in this space and less of a lawyer.
Okay. I love that because, having someone that you can talk to, like you said, and just kind of coach you through those things is important. And a lot of people are fearful of talking to an attorney because of the the legal fees, and sometimes you come up against people, which happens in any business, where people are just treating you as it's more transactional, and then
Yes.
it's not really thinking about you, the person, your actual feelings, and how you're processing everything, and a lot of the things that you're dealing with at that time, in addition to needing that paperwork done. I felt like that. I was like, okay, who do we go to? And I was in another state, and I just was very leery to go in and talk to an attorney. And, even today, I talked to my 90-year-old dad
Mhm.
about the importance of having certain paperwork in place. And even sometimes with him, he's like, okay, well, let me think about it, or I'll
Yeah,
let you win. And I'm just,
absolutely.
and I can't make him, and I can't tell him, and don't want to seem like I'm, you know, taking charge. But, I am understanding, that there needs to be that person that is the voice of reason, and also the one that says, okay, listen, we do need to get this done. And sometimes you do have to push a little bit, but like you said, having that conversation and listening to you. I know my dad would listen to you and just kind of be like, okay, yeah,
That sounds like a good idea. Yeah. So a
Yeah.
lot of people bring me in to serve as kind of that mediator for the conversation, right?
Right.
Because I think that when we wait until later years in our life, or when we're terminally ill, or we feel that death is imminent, It's
Mhm.
just not ideal because you're mixing the planning with a combination of other emotions you're having, that those emotions include fear and reluctance and not wanting to leave, right?
Right.
And even though we know it can happen anytime, if you start your plan when you're vibrant and healthy and
Yeah.
able bodied, you're not starting upside down, right? It's just part of your planning, the same way we plan everything else.
Right.
It's just part of smart planning. So it goes back to why I'm focused on the young community as one of my pieces of my audience, because I really want, when the college students are 90, for them
Mhm.
to not be afraid, right,
Right.
to plan. And
Right.
at the same time, on that other end of the spectrum, I have clients who are in that space. And because I
Mhm.
take a relational approach to what I'm doing, for me, it isn't about legal documents. When I was helping my mom, it wasn't the lack of legal documents that had me
Mhm.
stressed, frankly. It was not knowing where things were, not knowing if there were insurance policies, having to write an obituary from scratch, not
Mm.
having access to the cell phone. Those are the kinds of things that I want people to understand is a part of death planning. And so
Yeah.
that's what I'm promoting. There's a whole menu of things to choose from. Legal
Mhm.
documents are a very small piece, necessary in some instances, but there's so much more to planning than legal documents.
Right. Right. Amen to everything that you just said because because I, experienced that also. Wow. And I know it had to be a very tough time for your mother and for you, especially, those circumstances as they played out. So my condolences.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
being able to help other families through the experience. I think has been a part of the healing journey, not just for me, but for her as well, because I tell her story
Right.
everywhere I go, right?
Hmm.
So it's brought us together in an amazing way, although the circumstances are unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's wonderful, and I know she's got to be, so proud to have a daughter that could just, like, step right in and help her, not only emotionally, but, to take care of these things in a professional manner, so
I
that's
hope so.
wonderful.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
So I do wanna go back and just make sure that, everybody, gets the picture as it should be.
Mhm.
So you have a couple of, programs and services that you offer. I mean, a lot, but what we were talking about today was the, college send-off toolkit, right? Is that what we call
Yes.
it?
Yes. College
Okay.
send off toolkit. That's it.
And that is exactly.
So that is a guided roadmap for why your college student should be preparing for medical emergencies before they go to school. Scripts and prompts for how to engage with your young adult around the conversation, and then resources for actually drafting the documents you need.
Great. And then the second program that we were talking about was the goodbye
The
gift.
goodbye gift.
Okay,
Yes.
and it's such a great name, but, the goodbye gift, and that is exactly what? What does that entail?
Yes. So I think users can decide how they want to engage with the guided experience we've been talking about, right? So they
Mhm.
have two options. One way is to download the e-workbook. It was the original guide and it's still available. And you can find that on mydeathplan.com. If you
Okay.
want to make your experience more dynamic, more interactive, and include the coaching piece, then the goodbye gift comes into play, right? So you go through the same roadmap, but the benefit of the goodbye gift is that it's a web based application, right? So we talked about the ability not just to work through it, but to actually assemble your documents and information in one place. And I'll say, for instance, one section is a family heirloom section.
Mhm.
Okay. That's not necessarily a traditional part of a legal document, but we
Mhm.
talk about it. And I guide you through not only explaining what the heirloom is, but you can in real time upload a video about its importance to you and why you're choosing to leave it to the person that you're leaving. And that
Oh,
video will be there. So there won't be the family feuds, right? About, well, why did you get grandma's ring?
right.
Right. So,
And
so that's
and
a
did
piece
she
of
really want you to have it?
exactly. So
Right.
that's a piece of the web-based tool that I think is valuable because it does allow you to not just pull your documents together, but to
Mhm.
store your audio and video messages, right? And
Wow.
then embedded in the tool is also the ability to schedule coaching, right? Which
Mhm.
obviously I'm here to hold your hand. You do not have to do it alone. Also,
Mhm.
to store your documents, that's a big part of it, right? To designate what we call guardians. So these are people that will have your access code, and those people will be able to access all of your information when you decide that they should. So that's incredibly important. And another big piece of the goodbye gift is a planning hub of professionals. So remember, I'm a coach in this space. When we
Mhm.
look at your plan in the end, you may not need a lawyer, or you may need a lawyer in another state, or
Mhm.
maybe you need an insurance agent. You could need a notary. You could need a number of things. And so part of my job is helping kind of quarterback your playbook, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
And say, here's how you execute what we've now done together. So the
Mhm.
Goodbye Gift as a tool will roll out later this summer, but you can already sign up for access at goodbyegift.com. So it's available for sign up. But if you're ready to get started today, you can start with the e-workbook and you'll be able to jump off to a running start when the tool is released.
Wonderful. And that's on
.com.
mydeathplan.com, the ebook. Okay, great. And so, I started this podcast as a way of us sports moms just talking about all the things that our kids experience, all of our experiences as mothers. But naturally, we are so much more than just sports moms, and we have kids who don't play sports. But it is so important for me for us to be able to share as we did today and just educate, uplift, encourage. And so I wanted to ask you if there was one thing that you could share with mamas that you feel that every mom should know, um, what would that be with regard to what we were talking about today?
So I think if you do nothing else, if you never pick up a workbook and you don't access the tool, there are three very simple things you can do today for your student, but also for yourself. So
Mhm.
the first is designate legacy contacts in your phone. So both Androids and iPhones have the ability for you to designate a person who will have access to all of your digital accounts, information, media, photos in your device if you pass away. Now, the important part is they can access this without a court order because that's what you're trying to avoid, the need to go to court for someone to get access to your phone, right? So
Mhm.
all you need in this case is to be a designated person and to have a death certificate. And if it's an iPhone, for instance, Apple will then give you access to the contents of the phone. So
Wow,
that's very important.
I
Um,
never knew that.
you didn't? Okay. Well, there you
Mhm.
go.
Wonderful. Okay.
The second is to set up medical ID on your phone. I may be dating myself here, but when I was growing up, some people would have medical bracelets on
Mhm.
physically where you would have, their information, their allergies. Well,
Mhm.
we've now advanced technology, and some people still have physical medical devices embedded in their bracelets, but you
Mhm.
can set up medical ID on your iPhones as well. So
Mhm.
what medical ID does is allows you to include all of your medical history that would be important to an emergency responder if they were to encounter you and you were incapacitated. So think of maybe you have high blood pressure and you're on medication. Maybe you have a severe, like my children, allergy to peanuts. That
Mhm.
would be there.
Mhm.
Maybe you're on certain medication and you need to have that at a certain interval, right, in order to make sure that you stay stabilized. So any information you think is important can be included there, your blood type. The important part that I really enjoy as well is you can designate emergency contacts in the medical ID also, right? And this little thing you should do at the end is toggle it so that it shows when your phone is in a locked position. Because if you don't toggle it, someone would need access to your phone to get to the information, right? So if
Mhm.
you turn the toggle to on, it will
Mhm.
show while your phone is in the locked position. And so emergency responders, if they've been trained on it, right, they know that when they encounter you, they can go to your phone immediately and access that medical ID. And
Mhm.
if you have notifications enabled, it will also reach out to your emergency contacts. Your phone will. So do that.
Great. It's funny, I never knew that because I have often just tried to attach something or put it in the back sleeve of the phone, like
Mm-hmm.
as emergency, like for you to know who to contact. Because I've often thought, like in different situations, or if I'm going out and taking a walk somewhere, what if something happens and they have no idea like who I am and who to contact, and because your phone is locked, I didn't realize that. So this is wonderful, very valuable information. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
absolutely. And then the other non-tech tip I'll give is ensure that if you have insurance policies, that you have beneficiaries designated and that those beneficiaries are up to date, that you haven't had a life circumstance that would necessitate changing the beneficiary.
Okay.
And importantly, do not designate your minor children as beneficiaries because they can't legally inherit those assets. And so that will also automatically push them back into a court. So you want to name beneficiaries who are legally able to inherit, so 18 or over. And of course, depending on your life circumstance, your family makeup, you might need some additional planning. That trust and other mechanisms might be a good thing for you to look at. But for now, make sure you designate beneficiaries and that your beneficiaries are not minors.
Awesome. Well, this has been such an enlightening conversation, and I'm so glad that you and I connected so that we
Yeah.
can talk about this and then bring this to everyone else. I want to share where everyone can find you again. You've said it, but I want to say it again.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the easiest thing to do is to go to mydeathplan.com because all of the tools, resourcing, coaching, everything we offer, you can get to from that website.
Okay, at mydeathplan.com. This is so wonderful. And I know that you are an author. I mean, there is so much more that I can add to that introduction. And you were featured in USA Today
Yes,
for the
yes, yes.
program that you are providing and just how important that is. And congratulations on that, because that's just such a great thing, again, for you to think of from your own experiences, and then figure out how to actually help other people in their lives because of it.
Well, I
So
appreciate that.
it's
Thank
really
you.
wonderful, and I would love to come back and have a conversation with you with an amazing group of women, the college football moms. They are it's a group that was founded by a wonderful friend, and I'm also on the board with her. It's Stacy McCall Harris. She started this group because there is so much information that we don't always know. And there's always someone who is in a position that you're stepping into,
Right. We
or
have to learn from each other. Yes.
absolutely. And so we share on Facebook and Instagram. We always share information like this, and to get so deep into something that is not just about sports but so necessary, relevant, is great. So I would love to maybe have a conversation specifically with these groups of moms, and of course just to make sure to share this with everyone, as many as possible. So
Yeah, I would love that. So much of what I'm doing in
yeah,
this space in my life is about education, right?
yes,
So the more environments I can be in to help with destigmatizing the topic, but then also just encouraging people to do it with education, I am all for it. So definitely count me in.
sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much again. I appreciate you, Mrs. Dawn Norman, of My Death Plan, which has just really blessed us today. And I want to say thank you, everybody, for just checking in on the Mama Bear podcast. We're going to upload the entire episode on YouTube. So please subscribe and like, and continue to come back for more great conversations.